Okay, let's try this again. Hey, chat, can you hear me? I want to make sure I get that thumbs up from chat. If you can hear me, spam your favorite MTD emotes. You're not helping, Dwight. Everybody's saying, "Yeah, I can hear you."
We know you're lying.
And Dwight's saying, "You're still muted." Okay, let's try this again from the top. Hey, Internet, it's Jake from Mini Terrain Domain, and this is Dawnbringers, Heart of the Nightfang Spire, Season 4, Episode 4, an episode entitled Guardian of the Defile. And we'll get into what that means and what is happening with the Dawnbringers in just a moment. First, we're going to have a couple of really quick announcements, something really exciting to share with all of you. In fact, I'm going to do that first because it's so exciting I can barely contain myself. If you look all the way down in the lower left-hand corner, you will see our usual Jasper's Game Day and Initiative Coffee Company logo. But you'll also notice that there's a new logo sitting down there in the corner, and that logo belongs to our friends and new stream partner, Talon and Claw. If you were with us at all during the Jasper's Game Week stream, you certainly have heard of Talon and Claw. They were a sponsor of one of the games and played in one of the games and were in chat all week gifting subs, and just they donated so many awesome dice vaults and DM screens and things to help us to meet and exceed our goal. And so we decided that we would partner up. So what that means is more than just a fancy Talon and Claw logo on the overlay there. It means that occasionally you will see a notice pop up, and I'm going to go ahead and trigger it in chat right now. You can go to the link to Talon and Claw's Etsy page, and you can pick out your favorite DM screen, dice vaults, or any other things they have there. Great new line of Pride vaults. And you enter the code MTD Claw at checkout, and you will get 10% off of your order. So we're really excited to be able to bring that to you. I've also included a link because tomorrow Talon and Claw is going live with their Whiskey Barrel Dice Vault Kickstarter, a limited series of dice vaults made from actual lids of barrels in which whiskey was aged. So your dice vault will smell like whiskey, aged whiskey, and that is so very exciting to me. So you're going to want to check that out. Big Bearded Nerd just shared that link as well. You can go there now and sign up to be notified. So check it out. You're going to be hearing a lot about Talon and Claw. And like I said, the link will pop up in the chat from time to time as well. But we are very excited to partner with Talon and Claw and bring you that discount. And who knows, we may have some other surprises for you in the future. Speaking of Jasper's Game Day, though our big Jasper's Game Week event, in which we raised a grand total of just north of $35,000 in the course of that week. Though that is done, we are continuing to support Jasper's Game Day throughout the year. So at any time you can type !Jasper in the chat, and that will bring you to their always available direct donation link, so that you can help support things like the Teen Suicide Crisis Line, the National Suicide Crisis Line, crisis centers around the country, programs that educate administrators and teachers within school systems for how to look out for the warning signs and deal with the aftermath. So if you would like to donate, but you want to get a little something for yourself, you can always type !Coffee in the chat, and you will find a link to our partnership with Initiative Coffee Company's Help Action, where we have released Metade Roast, a medium Brazilian and Peruvian roast coffee that's absolutely delicious. Big Bearded Nerd and I actually selected this. We taste tested and chose this roast. And for every 12-ounce bag you buy, $3 of that purchase is going to go right back to Jasper's Game Day to support that cause. So get yourself some coffee. Follow that link. It's worth it. We do want to say a quick shout out and thank you to D&D Beyond, who has given us insider access, which allows me to run all of my D&D campaigns with D&D Beyond. And you should be able to mouse over now. I think I fixed it, and see all of the Dawnbringers there on the left hand in the overlay. You can click through, see what their characters are, all that good stuff. The two last things, because I almost forgot here, I noticed that our friend Spike resubbed, so I believe I owe you a domain die. So you see up there above Dan and V, Drowning Cantriel, you see 123 domain dice. That is our way for you to have an influence on the campaign. For a $5 tip or a 500-bit cheer, yes, I have reactivated cheers. You can provide the players with domain dice that they can use to re-roll a D20. They can make me re-roll a D20, all the way up to turning a hit into a super crit. So those subscriptions, resubscriptions, raids, those will all earn them domain dice. We have enough graphics to supply up to 155 domain dice.
That means he's challenging you to give us more.
I was gonna say, I guess if it gets up higher than that, I'll have to make more graphics. But and who's the? Do you guys remember when we started Domain Dice and I said, I made graphics to go up to 30. That should be enough. So the last thing that I want to let all of you know about is perhaps the most important thing before we start playing this game, and that is you matter. No matter where you are and whether or not you believe it, your presence on this earth makes a difference. It can be challenging sometimes, especially in the crazy situation we're in now with quarantines and whatnot. But you need to know that there are resources for you, and we've done what we can to help you have ready access to those resources. So anytime you are in mini terrain domain chat, whether we're on the air or off the air, or in the scroll down below, it's just starting to go by, you can type !help, and you will see the wonderful resources available to you. In the United States, you can call the National Suicide Lifeline at 1-800-273-TALK. That's 1-800-273-8255. Or you can text 741-741. If you are active duty, military, or a veteran, you can press the number 1 after that to be connected with a specialized counselor. In Canada, you can reach the crisis text line by texting the word CONNECT for English or PARLEY for French to 686-868, or you can call the Canada Suicide Prevention Services in French or English toll free at 1-833-456-4566. If you are among our friends from around the country, you can check out the resources available at opencounseling.com/suicide-hotlines. And you should be able to find what you need based on what country you live in. So with that, I think we're ready to do a quick recap. Start rolling some dice, some saving throws, some damage, and see if the Dawnbringers, if all of them make it out of this cave alive. All right, so having left the unwelcoming town of Saltmarsh far behind in the wake of the Evangeline, the Dawnbringers set sail on their new borrowed ship under the leadership of their new captain, Cantriel, who really was just doing whatever Victor said to do. Along the way, they were nearly struck by a bright shining light that crashed into the ocean near them and materialized an island known as the Feywild, where they met an entity known as the matron Eve, the Angeline, who was testing them before the next leg of their journey. And they learned that the region they are heading toward to deal with the risen vampire Gulthias and where he resides in Nightfang Spire is tainting this land with evil, a land and a region that was once the domain of this entity, who also revealed herself to be a Kirin, an emissary of the goddess Eldath. Matron Eve presented them with a magical portal, which they traveled through and immediately found themselves submerged in water. But they were quickly able to surface in a cave, where they were very quickly assaulted by the rocks themselves, seemingly, as several piercers and a roper descended from the ceiling and began assaulting them. We ended our session with the appearance of a creature, a draconic creature that has no less than 12 arms and legs, and only Cantriel could hear its foul exclamations of rip and tear and destroy and rip and rend before the air was charged with electricity. And that is where we are going to pick up where we left off in this exact moment, as we see this cavern, the stones, the stalactites and stalagmites, bright blue, almost white light reflecting off of their surfaces, causing stark shadows to dance around this chamber. Electrical energy arcing through the air as in almost slow motion. We see Cantriel dive to one side, Griveth dive to the other, as tongues of electricity reach out, sharp fingers still managing to dig into them, causing significant amounts of damage, though they manage to avoid the brunt of it. Fig, having just recently crashed to the ground after being grappled up by the form of the roper, and I believe Talmud also had dropped to the ground after allowing the roper to pull him up and putting the finishing touch on it. Thorgarn and Drown standing nearby as this electrical energy arcs through and the explosion of sound reverberates through this chamber. I'm going to have you all roll for initiative once again, and I'll re-roll initiative for the Behir as well. And we'll figure out exactly how they're going to deal with this particular encounter. Let's see. I have mine. All right. Whoops. I got to watch this. If you scroll while you're in the initiative thing, it changes that number. Whoa, no. All right, so let's start at the bottom so I don't do the scrolling thing. Drown. What do you got?
3.
I was going to say I don't literally mean the bottom, just in the order that I have them here, but Talmud?
I was thinking, well, just come straight for me then, all right?
Talmud, what do you got?
Talmud got a 13.
So say I didn't even see that you would put that in the chat, Dan. Fig.
12.
12. Griveth.
17.
All right. Cantriel.
9.
That's the second lower than usual initiative you've had. Thorgarn.
That's a 6.
Wow. Griveth, what is
Strong start, guys. Strong start.
Griveth, what is your dexterity modifier?
+1.
Oh boy. As Cantriel and Griveth spin out of the way, and you can literally see Cantriel's hair in parts standing up from the static electricity, and I imagine spider webs of electrical burns visible.
No. Oh no.
The Behir is going to go first. So for the first thing I'm going to do is see if its lightning recharges. It recharges on a 5 or a 6. Okay.
I thought it was lightning crashes.
We'll wait and see another round or two if we make it that far. So the Behir is going to continue its. You just hear this continuous sound. All of you hear. I would say by this point you have interacted with enough kobolds and actual dragons that even though you don't speak Draconic, you all recognize the Draconic language when it's being spoken. Though you hear harsh tones spoken quickly and angrily, though admittedly most dragons sound angry when they talk. Only Cantriel, you hear, "None shall pass. I shall destroy all of you. Every last one will be added to my collection. Rip and tear in pieces." As it darts forward, and I'm going to see who it goes for. It is going to go for the shining, recently illuminated Knight of Smite, Griveth. Also, I just realized I forgot to credit this, that we did receive some bits from Antonio Pinheiro, earning you guys 2 more domain dice. So thank you for those. It goes charging towards you, moving quickly, Griveth. And it is going to... does an 18 hit you?
No.
It comes charging at you, and it seems to sort of slither around you. And you can hear this metallic... it almost sounds like if you took a metal pipe and ran it across the bars of a jail cell, as its scales are going grrr, as it curls up against your shield and your armor, and you even hear it snapping at you a couple times, as it doesn't seem to have been counting on you being so heavily armored. It fails in its constriction of you, and guess what, Griveth? It's your turn, and it's immediately in your vicinity.
Well, that's handy. Okay. Griveth had already drawn Dawnbringer, so Dawnbringer is ready to smite for the Knight of Smite, and I am gonna bring Dawnbringer down and try to just hack this thing apart. It has made its intentions known. It does not seem like it wants to be our friend. So, Dawnbringer, go! All right, let's see what happens here. That is a 25.
Yeah. 25 will definitely hit.
All right. So this thing, the radiance wouldn't affect it any, right? Radiance from my blade.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Radiance from my blade wouldn't affect it any.
you won't know until
Radiant
you.
attack?
I mean, yeah. Just tell me how you're hitting, and you'll see it. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you what its vulnerabilities are.
Okay, I guess every attack is radiant, so I just want to let you know that essentially is what I'm trying to get at. Sorry, the long way around that. Okay. I am going to hit. Let's see here, and then I am going to release some smite. Find it on my sheet here. Sorry, where is it? There we go. Okay, I'll roll that by hand. Rolling, I'm using the sheet to roll. Okay, all right, nice. That is 24 points of damage with a smite for good measure. And that is radiant, so if that affects it at all. All right, another attack.
All right.
Oh, that is a crit.
Nice.
So, boom.
Critical hit. How about that shit?
So we do max damage on the die plus the damage.
Yes, you do automatic max damage of everything, modifiers, dice, and everything.
And then roll another.
And then you roll any damage dice and add to that.
Gotcha. Ooh, bam. Okay. That's 10, 20. That's 30 points of damage.
So that's like,
boom.
What, 55 points of damage in one turn?
Yeah.
This is why my monsters never make it more than a round or two.
Should I do the super crit? What do you guys think? Okay, yeah, let's do the super crit.
All right, so that all that would do was increase that to whatever your max damage is times 2. So that 30 would become what?
Okay, so let's see. 20. So 20 more points of damage.
Nice. And I'm just gonna knock you down there. That's 5 domain dice to do that, but it seemed like a good use as Griveth lays in heavily with Dawnbringer. And Griveth, you hear, already you were in this darkened cave, the only real illumination coming from bioluminescence and the lightning breath of this Behir. And as you draw Dawnbringer, you hear this sigh of relief as the sentient sword, oh, good light, yes, tear it apart. And it seems to relish in the damage you have done against this creature. The creature, however, is not happy at what you're doing and is going to take the second of its multi-attack action at the end of your turn, as it attempts to bite you in retaliation. That would be a 26 to hit.
Ooh, that is a hit. Re-roll that.
Griveth playing fast and loose with domain dice, but we got quite a few of them there. That is instead going to be a 23 to hit.
Ooh, that's still a hit. I'll take it.
So that's going to be a total of 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 19 points of piercing damage as it just chomps down on your shoulder, and you feel its razor-sharp teeth cutting through the seams and puncturing some of your armor. And it is now Talmud Godon's turn. And I believe you were already enraged from dealing with the roper. So you won't need to, redo that or anything.
Okay. I don't remember who it was that I was that
it was the ant.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Thank you.
Is it Tildane? Is that right?
Let me get my list real quick.
I don't have your notes in front of me, but
yes, Tildane.
okay.
So, this roper kind of falling from the ceiling to the ground. Talmud turns, and you can see the same kind of frizzy hair and the concerned look for everybody's safety upon Talmud's cousin Tildane, and is going to bring Estelle Gerta out, and is going to cross the
I'm like, why is he chuckling?
I amuse myself, Jake. He's going to close the distance and raise the warhammer and bring it down twice upon this creature.
So you're using Estelle Gerta versus Bahir Arthur.
Yes. I couldn't resist.
Wait until the Betty Whites show up.
God. Betty Whites. I hate you.
You did this.
Actually, V gets the blame for this. This can be traced back to the crafting
This
Muse.
is totally my fault.
No, this is entirely because of you. We thank you. At least I do. I don't blame you. All right, so
well,
two
I'm a
attacks.
little blanched with embarrassment.
attacks.
So
Oh. Okay, so the first one is a 26.
Yeah, that's gonna hit.
The second one is only a 14, so I think I'm going to spend a domain die and reroll that.
Yes, use them.
Since they're flying out the door anyways. Get them while they're hot. That's a 28 to hit. That'll be better.
Yep, that's two
Really well
hits.
spent. Okay. So it's +7. Okay. So the first step is going to be 16 points of bludgeoning, non-magic. The second will be 8 and 15. Same.
All right.
The whole time that she's flailing about with this large warhammer and clanging it off of this creature's body, she's trying to, or he is trying to impose himself between the Bahir and anyone else. Griveth can hold his own in the front, but he's going to try to make sure that it can't get past them to get to the others.
All right. Fig, you are up.
So Fig is on the ground, having freshly thunderstepped away from the roper, I believe. That's where he is.
That sounds right.
Okay. I think that he is going to... No, I think he's going to whip out his trusty wand of magic missiles out of his little compartment in his arm, kind of springs out, and he almost catches it midair. And he is going to cast it using at fifth level. He's going to use 5 charges.
All right.
Unfortunately, D&D Beyond doesn't do that for you.
You should be able to, on the left side of your character sheet, add dice. There should be just an overlay that's all 7 dice types.
Oh my goodness. It's so little. I didn't even see it.
I'm jealous because as a DM, I don't have access to that.
All right. So that, I believe, is going to be 18 points of damage.
Remind us again what Fig's magic missiles look like. That's a lot of magic missiles flying through the air.
Yeah. I imagine that they are small little bits. Not even in a lot of his spells, he has gears mostly that he uses, but I imagine that as he kind of moves this wand first like around his body, it's almost like collecting all of these extra small parts that kind of you can see, and some are a bit rusted on, so you hear this like ting 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 as they all come off and they all kind of begin to circle, and then one by one they like just like as fast as bullets go as he brings down his wand towards this thing.
And I imagine as these magic missiles go flying and hit the Behir, you see everywhere that one of these gears strikes it, its scale becomes tarnished brass and then flakes off as a sign of the damage it's receiving. Is that the end of your turn then?
Yes.
Cantriel, it is your turn.
All right. So is the Behir up against a wall or anything like that, or more in an open space?
You're all sort of in this open space. So if you remember, you're in this sort of 60-foot cavern that about half of it is water. And you're sort of just on the north side of this water area in the central part of the cave. It's more or less open. There's a few stalagmites and stalactites around.
Okay. Is there one of those lovely bits of cover on the ground behind the Behir? Say about 30 feet or so away?
I would say yeah, because I mean I'm picturing this as there's literally fingers of rock everywhere in this cavern.
Then I am going to Misty Step myself behind and get myself some cover because I don't like being sparkified. It's not a good look. So I'm going to do that, and then in Draconic, you sneaky bitch, and she's going to fire off 2 shots. Because, you know, it's Cantriel, why not?
It's too much time around Talmud.
You're wearing off on me. Okay, so hold on, we got to get back to Sempre Cavatina. Ah, yes, that's right. All right, so first hit is going to be 21.
That will hit.
Oh, lovely. So then that's going to be 7 points piercing. And then second one, wait, hold on. That is dirty 20.
A hit.
And that is going to be another 9 points piercing.
All right.
And that's everything for me. Outside of like trying to smooth down the hair and everything.
So yeah, you do the classic Misty Step and just and reappear behind cover, bow at the ready, shots fired. As the arrows are impacting into the Behir, we come to Thorgarn.
Was that a move action to settle your hair?
That's a free. It's an object interaction. It's an object interaction.
Exactly, free object interaction.
All right. So how far away from this thing am I?
I say you're within 30 feet. Pretty much everybody's within 30 feet of it.
All right. So I'm gonna, I don't know how my, tiny frame in amidst, everything else that's going on is going to be able to draw this thing's attention. But Thorgarn has the idea, not that I can understand Draconic, but it seems like it's talking, as you said, we are getting the idea of Draconic. So I'm just gonna.
I mean, chances are Cantriel will swear a lot in Draconic, so you're used to hearing it.
So like as I'm, just marching in this thing's direction, I'm gonna be like, look, we've taken down bigger prey than you. If you want your scaly hive to leave here, you best give up now. And then I will rage and lay into the thing. So that is a 29 and a 24.
Both gonna hit.
The first one, since we're playing fast and loose with those domain dice, I'm gonna go ahead and put some extra oomph into it. So I will do a super crit
Oh, allow me to
So
hold on.
what does that work out to be? 64, 66.
What?
So that's 73 points of damage
Holy!
as I dump my second.
Say that
level.
number one more time, because I was so incredulous I forgot it.
73.
73.
So my, Forge Fane +3 weapon. I use a second level spell slot on top of the Warhammer, all doubled and maximized. Yeah. And then the second hit, that is going to be just 15.
Just a paltry 15 following that.
A paltry 15.
And you're hearing scales crack and you're bruising flesh and it's bleeding from between its scales. But this creature is still on its 12 feet. And
Maybe one of them's not feeling as good.
it is now Drown's turn.
All right. So quick reminder: who got blasted by the lightning breath the first time?
Cantriel and Griveth.
And Griveth. Okay. And whereabouts is Fig? How far away is he from the Behir at this point?
I would say within probably at about the 30-foot range.
Okay. All right. So since I conjured one of the Grasp of the Deep tentacles when we were fighting the Roper, as a bonus action, I will move it down next to the Behir and strike at it. 23 to hit, I believe.
That is a hit.
All right. So let's do. So it breathed lightning. I'm going to go ahead and do cold damage, not lightning to it, because that's probably immune. 5 points of lightning damage, and I will unleash 2. Sorry, yep, cold. That thing I said the first time. And then unleash 2 Eldritch Blasts.
Okay.
Not super great, but thanks to that Rod of the Pack Keeper, I think I'm good. That's going to be a dirty 20 and a 18.
Both are hits.
Oh, hooray. All right. A couple of piles of force damage here. Very small pile. 16 points of force damage.
All right.
So I'll position the tentacle kind of, let's see, Griveth and Thorgarn and Talmud are all up in its face, right?
Yes.
All right, so I'll put myself kind of behind Thorgarn, and the tentacle has a 10-foot reach, so it's sort of parked near us and lashing past and sort of through them to strike at the Behir.
The Behir is continuing its ranting, but it sounds labored. Tear, rip, destroy, guard, do not let pass. And let's see if it recharges. It does not recharge. All right, so I am going to roll to see whether it's Griveth, Talmud, or Thorgarn that gets attacked. It is Thorgarn getting attacked.
Just as a reminder, it'll have disadvantage on all of those.
Oh, because you have your spirits.
Because I hate it.
You're both raging. Yep, thank you. I was going to say the same thing.
I'm going to use these big old Fat Explorers dice. I love these giant D20s. The new Laurel Silverhand. And they match because it's a Behir. Hold on. Oh, man. Hit the floor and it landed on a 18. All right, let's re-roll that. Use. There's a 13 on one and a 2 on the other. So I don't think a 12 is going to hit you, Thorgarn.
Indeed not, sir.
However, it is going to attempt to bite somebody. This time it's going to attempt to bite Talmud, also at disadvantage. That is going to be a 14 to hit. It seems to be getting lost in these ancestral spirits that are swirling around it. You watch as it is in frustration curling around and attempting to constrict on one of the spirits, and it sort of crashes next to you as it fails to grasp hold of the ethereal form. One of your ancestors passes right in front of your face, Talmud, and you see as the Bahir goes for its throat and its jaws clamp down in front of you, just missing both it and you.
So I have to say that if you're allowing, the ancestors that are there, they're meant to enrage, but some of them are like, laughing and provoking this thing to attack them instead of us. At its when it's constantly not being able to grip and get a foe, they're just basically mocking him.
It is going to attempt one last thing, as being caught up and just completely surrounded and swarmed by these spirits and all of you around it, and these tentacles are nearby, and it's getting hit with with arrows and tarnished cogs. It makes a quick motion so fast in its serpentine form, it almost seems to twist in on itself, forming a figure 8 with its coils, and it attempts to dart off in the northeast direction, which unfortunately is going to provoke at least 3 opportunity attacks from those that are near it. So all of you go ahead and Griveth, Talmud, Thorgarn, and I don't know, do your tentacles get an attack there, Dan, or is that... Okay. So the 3 of you go ahead and roll your attacks. And just shout your answer. Tell me what you got for an attack roll.
30 to hit, 19 damage.
Talmud?
I rolled like garbage, so I'm going to instead cash in 5 domain dice for a super crit.
I'm going to not allow you to do that because it would be a waste of dice.
Oh, fair. In that case, I will spend a single to just reroll.
Let me put it this way: the 3 of you go ahead, and all 3 of you take a piece of the narrative description. I was just going to see. I wanted somebody to critically fail, is what I wanted, but that's not happening. You're Dawnbringers. So Griveth, Talmud, and Thorgarn, each of you take a moment and describe how the 3 of you finish off Bahir Arthur. I'm trying to make it sting a little bit.
Just remember, she has her sister Blue Ann Rams.
So, if you will, Scotty, I would say that Griveth pins the tail down with his greatsword, into the ground, stopping it from fleeing. And then
I love that.
Talmud and Thorgarn just basically, climb up, wailing away, stopping the legs from moving until a joint, Warhammer from one side, Maul from the other side, right into the thing's skull, and it slumps to the ground.
ATSD style. And the gray matter sprays all over Griveth.
That's usually the dwarves that are getting coded.
Yeah, the cousins work in concert and end up spraying me with the gore instead of vice versa, as I had it pinned. But as you see me pull Dawnbringer out of the tail, where it kind of even went into the very rock of the cave, you see Griveth's face is illuminated, and his face, there's too much joy in his face. Like he almost looks like one of the berserkers the Berserk brothers or the Berserk cousins who had moved in on it. Like he's just enjoying it too much. Like the symbiosis between Dawnbringer and Griveth is getting closer and closer, and just the joy of battle is starting to overcome his fights.
I like that. It's almost like the light of Dawnbringer creates this sort of nimbus,
almost like a flashlight when you shine on your face, and it looks like creepy.
Yeah, but there's also a bit of a nimbus of light that sort of imbues you momentarily while you're in the heat of battle, kind of like in Stardust. Whenever she's feeling joy, she gets that nimbus of light about her.
It's like a euphoria. Yeah.
You could always give way to the path of the barbarian. You got two here to guide you.
That's true. That's true.
So, as you all wail in on this thing, as the radiant energy of hold on, I was momentarily distracted as you all were just bestowed by the domain dice patron himself with a very generous number of domain dice. So Chameleon Fam, our good old patron, saying thank you so much for that donation. That is, I believe, a surge of 20 domain dice. That was a $100 tip. So thank you so much for that. And for those wondering, I call the patron. That is why we call the 5 domain dice crit the patron's blessing. That was specifically requested by the one who inspired the creation of domain dice, Chameleon Fam. So let me see. I don't think it's been a long time since we've used this number. You're now at 132 domain dice. So again, thank you for that. And since I interrupted for a quick second, saw a couple questions about this. This is based upon the 3rd edition module, Nightfang Spire. Yes. So, as the energy of Dawnbringer begins illuminating the scales of this creature, and you're all wailing into it, and you're crushing it and smashing its head and cutting into it, what's left begins to crackle with electrical energy, and you watch as small, sharp fingers of electricity curl up out of its carcass and begin pulling in, and it seems to almost implode on itself until all that is left is a vaguely ozone-smelling pile of ash.
Are any of the scales that came off still around, or did that all disappear?
Everything just turned to ash as it was devoured. And you watch as it looks like this ash, and all of this is happening within seconds. You watch as this ash seems to almost blow in an unseen breeze. And you realize it's not blowing. The ash is moving as hundreds and thousands of maggot-like creatures begin to crawl out of it and begin moving into crevices and cracks and crawling away. The creature is destroyed. The other threats have been eliminated. And you all are left alone in this cavern. What would you like to do?
I'd like to cast Cure Wounds on myself before Griveth gets over here.
So if I remember, this was a tunnel that goes deeper on from where we got waylaid, yeah?
I'm sorry, say that again?
If I remember correctly, this is a tunnel that just continues on deeper, right?
You don't know.
Or does it?
You had come out of what was essentially the tunnel that was filled with water when you traversed the gate.
Right.
Then you came up into this cavern, and you haven't left this cavern.
Right. I mean, like, is it so big that we can't see the walls currently? Or...
The far side, the northern area, is mostly obscured by stalactites and stalagmites. You just hadn't never made it over there because you got attacked.
Okay. Then I will not wander too far away, but maybe somewhere where I can try to get a better look and see if there's a exit from the cavern.
All right. All right. Go ahead and give me an investigation check at advantage, Drown.
Delightful. That'll give us a dirty 20.
You are trying to be cautious not to get too far away from the party, just to see what might be in this direction. And you're probably getting just about to that point where you're feeling less comfortable about how far you're having to move when you see in the northeastern direction, you see a sliver of light, natural light, reflecting off of cave. You can't see the entrance itself, but it's at a downward angle, and it looks like it may be slightly to the left of a curving tunnel. There is what appears to be sunlight reflecting off of the stone.
Got it. All right, so I'll note the direction to that, and then remain in close eye shot of the rest of the group until they're ready to travel.
So, are you all partaking in general healing? Are you going to? What exactly are you wanting to do here?
How hurt is everybody?
I'm good.
I'm perfectly fine. Thank you very much.
And keep in mind, from a time point of view, less than an hour has passed since you awoke from a long rest.
I feel all right, but I'm sopping wet, no thanks to having brought us right into the middle of underwater.
Why are you looking at me when you're saying that?
I don't know. You were standing there.
So Drown will sort of shoot a just kind of a quizzical look over toward Thorgarn as he bellyaches about being wet, and he'll hold out his hand and snap, and the tattoos on his fingers will begin to writhe, and all of the water will start to squirm and gather and run off of him, using prestidigitation to dry him off.
Talmud has the heebie-jeebies as things crawl off of him.
It does feel like the water is slithering down your body into the rock, and he'll just say, "There, now you're dry."
So what's worse, being wet or prestidigitated?
Talmud, you got wet, but then you got to fight. What's the problem?
Because I had to fight wet.
How many times are you fighting, while wet in the blood of your enemies? What's the difference?
That's exactly what I was wondering, considering how often that you've been soaked to the bone with blood.
It's different.
Why? Because it's water and it makes you want to puke?
Blood doesn't try to drown me, typically.
It could.
I'm the one that got the most wet here. As I rub the gore off.
It looks good on you, Griveth.
Why, thank you.
Oh, dear God. She's just fully disgusted and walking away.
The blood of my enemies tastes like victory.
Chat is really being generous to you guys tonight. They are throwing domain dice at you left and right. Thank you again, Skybozia and Staff and TJ. All right. So everybody seems to have now be dry, which seemed to be your primary concern.
I was just waiting on the people who were injured to heal up until they were comfortable. If they're ready to go, then I will start leading the way toward the daylight.
I am going to do a cure wounds on myself.
I'm just making a mental note. Water weirds, water elementals, anything with whelm to hit Talmud with.
You got something in your eye there, Jeremy?
Yep. It's all this bullshit flying around.
You give a DM power against you, and that's what they're going to do.
Jake loves me. I love Jake. It's all good.
The water elemental will attack and whisper in your ear, "Your dungeon master sends his regards."
I thought you were going to say memories again.
Memories. I forgot how much V loves the whispers.
So there's a 2-for-1 special, Jake.
Right. All right, so everybody is safe to do some quick healing over the next few minutes. And I would say, Drown, with your investigation and checking that area, discovering that the cavern does go somewhere, you determined that for the time being, everything seems to be safe here. You seem to have dealt with the threats.
All right,
I've got
good
20
deal.
points of lay on hands if anybody needs it. So
I think it's good. He's actually just collecting some of the cogs and other bits that he had used up in his spells.
I just suddenly have this vision from Ratchet and Clank when all the video game when all the bolts.
Oh my god, yes.
Emma has this look like, I have no idea what game you're talking about.
Dating ourselves.
Oh.
No. My boys play that, so no, there's no dating here.
Yeah, I'm down 10 points. So if everybody else is good, I'll take whatever's left. But I don't feel that it's necessary just yet.
I'm just 30 points below normal HP. So hey.
Give it to the, give it to the elf.
I could
Absolutely.
Give
Yep. Give it to
20
me.
points to Cantriel. I could give 10 to Cantriel and 10 to Talmud.
As a reminder, any one person can spend 3 domain dice to access hit dice healing outside of a rest. That is one of the domain dice features. But it costs
Oh, right, I
3
forgot about
domain
that.
dice per person if you wish to access your hit die. Not per domain or per hit die, but just to access that feature.
You're not encouraging us to use them so that we use them all up and then you bring out a really big bad baddie.
Chat has been very
Could
generous.
run low.
So I'm just reminding you that in between rests, you have access to that.
Okay.
It's like when you play a game and you keep getting healing potions, but you don't want to use any of them. So
Yeah,
like you want to
right.
end the game with like the maximum you could possibly have.
Oh, fine. I'll do that.
Yeah, we need to save our domain dice in case we need to super crit the Pope.
Exactly.
So did you say you were going to use the domain dice healing feature?
He's kind of hurt. Yeah, I should.
Okay.
I really
Well,
should.
I mean, Cantriel. I got 20. They're gonna just go to waste.
Okay, then I'll take his 20 and I'll think about the domain dice later.
You just want to see the domain dice animations.
I don't know. I'm very confused right now.
Talmud's hooking you up, or Thorgarn's hooking you up.
Okay, so let's have fun and play this for Cantriel, knowing that, Griveth would probably try to do a similar approach. Immediately beelines it over to Thorgarn. A little help, please, if you don't mind, before someone else gets the same idea.
So I mean, his hands, glow just a little bit. Quick touch on the shoulder, and the energy washes into you, and you feel a little less shocked.
Thank you ever so much.
My pleasure.
It is appreciated.
Griveth
All right.
looks dejected.
That's a free action. Drown, you would notice that over the course, I'm going to say that it's roughly 15 minutes. that everybody's been tending to their wounds and stuff. And as you're sort of standing there and maybe occasionally glancing back at where you saw that sunlight, the light seems to be either moving or fading.
Interesting. So, all right. Well, I'll just sort of point that out as we finish up tending wounds and start heading that way. I saw what I thought is daylight over there in that tunnel, but it seems to be moving.
Well, if it's moving, then it's probably not daylight, but it's some sort of light. I mean, technically make that one look like he's full of light. And she points to Griveth and makes her hand glow.
His sword?
His sword, or make him glow myself, one of the two.
Did you say Griveth?
Are we ready to move on?
Yes, quickly, please. Let's go.
Then let's be about it.
Moving on. Yes, that should certainly be done, right, Griveth?
Yes, exactly.
He agrees, Cantriel, that he should certainly move on.
Yes, but I don't think he's moving in the right direction.
Wait a minute.
I feel like there is something more being said under the surface of your words. He's like, Vegas just like looking and just like cocking his head a little bit.
Drown looks at Fig and nods once, like, yeah, I was picking up on that too.
It's called
Just trying to ignore everything.
I imagine Fig and Drown to share this moment of like, yeah, you know what? We're getting this. This is good.
It's like, huh? Yeah.
Wachoo!
So as you all decide to move on, some in more literal ways, some more figuratively, who's taking the lead?
I'll take the lead with Dawnbringer drawn and shining the light.
All right.
Unless we want to have more of a stealthy approach and the people who can see in the dark go first. How do you guys feel?
Well, stealth is not really our thing.
No, it's not.
Our as in the Dawnbringers, or our as in Talmud or Thorgarn and Griveth?
A little bit of both, pretty much.
Well, actually, I mean, stealth can be my thing. It's just the company I keep.
Right. We do tend to ruin it for you.
All right, so you all begin moving in the direction that Drown has indicated. And it doesn't take you very long to pick your way around the stalactites, or rather stalagmites. And you find that the cavern at the northeast corner, starts to descend downward and narrow until it's in the ceiling becomes a bit higher, increasing to 20, 30, 40 feet. But this tunnel becomes narrower until it's barely more than 5 feet wide. And you can see that your light from Dawnbringer is beginning to quickly begins to wash out as daylight is filling this tunnel. And as you come around the curve, you see this long, tall rip in the darkness as you are looking out into some sort of you can see a lot of sky, but you can also see stone. It's almost as if you are coming out of a wall in a canyon, a long canyon. And as you step forward to this entrance, you can see that there's rubble and ground that extends downward from the position where you are at a steep but not dangerously so grade, in much the way at the foot of canyons, all the rocks and things that have fallen off form a sort of ramp down to this canyon floor. And you realize you are standing at the sort of a southern edge of a big defile in whatever landscape you are in, wherever you may be. This area is hundreds of feet across as you look in either direction, and hundreds, if not more than 1,000 feet up to the top of this canyon that you are in. And looking ahead, even at this distance, which looks like it could be close to a mile, you see a stony fang thrusting up from the canyon floor. It's wider at its base, and it slowly narrows towards its apex, where it terminates in jagged stone splinters. Though its tip must be at least 300 feet above the canyon floor, the cliffs on either side are 5 times as high, cloaking this spire in shadow. Its sides are carved with stone gargoyles, faces, porticos, ledges, and other baleful textures. You can just make out at this distance, at the very bottom of this spire, a small stone structure. Already the light that was filling into this area, the reason it was moving is you can see that though it may be in the late morning, the sun has moved into such a way that this portion of the defile is in shadow, are falling into shadow where the sunlight was illuminating it. You're about a mile from this spire, but by every definition, it seems to match what your destination is. What would you like to do?
This canyon looks like it's pretty much a kind of a straight shot to this spire. Like it leads to
There's
it.
nothing that would impede your travel to it that you can see. It's wide open. You would probably descend about a quarter mile and then about 3/4 of a mile further to the spire itself.
So I think Talmud has switched weapons out for Ghost Cleaver and has Ghost Cleaver kind of held across his waist in both hands, kind of spread far apart across the haft. And he is like eyes to the right and then to the left and then back to the right, just over and over again, kind of scanning these cliff faces. And he says, you know, if I was the kind to ambush my enemies, this would probably be the kind of place I'd look for.
Isn't it, though? It's just right. And I'll have Sempre Cavatina pulled out and arrow at the ready on it.
What about the rest of you?
Well, it would appear that the spire is our destination. I don't think there's anything for it except to make it out to there.
Is there any preparations that any of us need or want to do before we go into such a place?
Drown
No.
just shakes his head and gestures with his staff toward the spire.
Let's just get this over with.
We could camp and see if anything comes in or out of the spire. Of course, who knows what's in the spire, and at night it may be worse than it is at least during the daytime.
Based on the little bit of information we have, I don't think this is something that's just to be gotten over with. This is going to be big.
Agreed.
Jake, refresh me. What time of day is it?
It's hard to be certain, but based on the time it was when you left the Feywild, it's late morning. Whether that translates 1-to-1 in wherever you are now, I mean, truth be told, you don't really know what direction you're in unless your ranger has that innate ability.
How long do we think it would take us to get to the spire?
It's a mile.
Okay.
With the descent, quarter-mile descent, at counting as difficult terrain, I would say it would probably take you a total of maybe 20 minutes. 30 or more if you're going slowly, being cautious. But at a normal pace, all of you together could probably get there in about 15 to 20 minutes if you're going to go direct. It sounds like at least a couple of you are taking precaution, weapons at the ready, and are being alert.
If how far, like left or right, does this stretch?
Hundreds of feet. But it does appear, looking at it, as if this defile, at least as far as you can see, you're at the one end of it, and there appears to be no other canyons or anything that leads into this area or out of it.
Do we see an entrance or a door opening in the spire?
From this distance, it's hard to see. The closest you can see is that small stone structure that's abutting the base of it.
Cantriel, did you have that strange glass that you could see at distance?
You mean the one on the ship?
Oh, didn't you have like a eyesight thing?
That I left on the ship?
Oh, okay, sorry.
I didn't exactly think we were going to need it, nor was I expecting we were going to not go back to the ship.
Good point, good point.
I mean, I could listen if that helps.
Oh, definitely helps all the time.
Okay, yeah, sure. She'll like give a listen to see.
I didn't mean now, I mean when we travel.
Yeah, but even now, just to see if there's anything like up in the cliff areas, just to start getting a sense. Do I need to roll for that, or can I use my passive?
Go ahead and give me a perception check.
Okay. Let's see how this goes. 26.
You listen. You concentrate. And at first you hear the slight shifting, the creaking of leather and armor, maybe a slight sound of Fig's joints as he shifts position. You then hear the occasional rock skittering down the hill as somebody's foot dislodges it. You listen further and you can hear this subtle sort of the wind that blows is less of the sound of a gale force wind or even a strong wind than it is the sound of the silence of this canyon. It is, other than your own sounds, it is eerily devoid of sound.
Well, this is a rather quiet place. I don't hear anything.
Perhaps there are more creatures at or near the tower. We should make our way there.
Most likely.
Jake, could you refresh our memory of what we know about this tower? Because I mean, we've talked, off air about what this is, but I don't want to take anything in character that we wouldn't know.
So you've learned bits and pieces from talking to the Lady Vantage, and you learned some things from talking to the Matron Eve. and a few other bits and pieces you've picked up. What you know is that at one time, the vampire Golthias led a cult organization of dragon cultists that worshipped a Chardalon in this location. And then long ago, Golthias was trapped, staked to the ground where a tree grew from the stake. His cultists were never heard from again. It's only in the time that's passed in the last several months since the Dawnbringers' first incursion into the Sunless Citadel and the paladin Griveth Langsmore destroyed the Golthias tree. And it was learned that in the interim time, the vampire Golthias was freed and returned to the Spire. And it is assumed that he is trying to bring back his cultists. Beyond that, you don't know.
So we know about a Chardalon, that we eventually have to deal with it, because it's linked to Cantriel's background, as told to us by the Lady Vantage, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So then, if this guy is linked to that, then we need to deal with him so that it weakens a Chardalon.
The only other thing that you've heard, and I believe the only individual that mentioned these exact words to you, was Thorgarn, the storm giant quintessent herald that you met when you were leaving. Okay. Specifically said, when you've destroyed the heart, see the giants, see the cloud giants in the north.
Okay.
Your fourth wall knowledge of the title of this campaign would indicate a significance of a heart of Nightfang Spire as well.
Right. Well, wait. We're not trying to use that fourth wall knowledge. All right. So we think this vampire thing is in this place, in this tower, and we've got to destroy it, and destroy it for good, hopefully. But if it had minions before, it's safe to assume that it's already going to have been able to gather some new minions, because it's been a while since that tree was destroyed. Are there any precautions, anything that we have, and this is me asking the group, that we might be able to do to ready ourselves for such a battle?
Well, maybe perhaps, and give those of us who can do some things from a distance a bit of a chance to throw some things at it first before you run up upon it. I know Fig and I can do a few things. However, it might do some damage to you as well when you're up there in its face fighting it.
All right. I'm not the most astute when it comes to the arcane, and y'all know that I'm not the most astute at observation. So, do we need some kind of trigger, battle phrase or something for you to be able to say, "Hey"?
You want a safety word, is what you're saying.
Something to say, for us, thick-skulled dwarves here, of not just charging right in, because it's kind of what we're good at.
But look, we know that's where we're going. Yes, right. We know it's full of little nasty things that we get to crush with our hammers and our mauls and whatever else. But we know that that's where we're going, and that's what we're supposed to be doing. So let's just go there and do it.
I know you like to think with your fist before you think with your brain there, cousin.
I use what works.
But sometimes you need to use your brain.
That's for you to figure out.
And that's what we're trying to do here, cousin.
Good. I'm going to walk on ahead.
No, that's not at all what we're saying.
What?
Talmud. You've seen what Fig can do. Imagine what else he can do when given the room to work. Same thing for Drown, same thing for myself.
We're going to sleep right here in the shadow of that mountain.
That's not what I'm saying.
No.
I'm saying we have a few minutes of a conversation and
Tactical negotiation.
Okay. I can guarantee you my part of it's going to be to smash things with this.
Right, but there are times where it will actually be beneficial for us and our success in the fight if we hold back for just a moment.
Fine.
No one's saying you can't go run up and go crazy like you like to do. We're just asking to maybe wait a beat or two.
He's going to find a rock to sit down on.
There are plenty of them.
He's gonna sulk.
Yes, absolutely. He's pouting.
Harumph. Cantriel just like pat him on the shoulder. Like, there.
So some kind of signal. I don't care what it is, but if we can set that, then us who like to charge in will know when this is said. We'll not just charge. We can take a moment, let you guys let you people do your thing, and then when it's safe, then we can move in.
All right. How about I set something alight? Visually, you can see something's lit up, so it's sort of like pause. That way, if you can't hear us, you at least can see it.
Does that work for you, Talmud?
Who exactly is sneaking forward?
I mean, I can sneak. That's usually not usually, and she'll look at Talmud. Not a problem.
Perhaps I missed the point of what's being discussed.
Let's just say there's a habit where our hack and slash crew likes to run up ahead of time before those of us with some distance abilities can do some damage ahead of time.
All right. So do you wish to range ahead, or shall we move together and simply refrain from charging in?
That's what we're trying to get Talmud to do. The latter, not the former.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, can you hold on to him?
No. No. There's
What?
no need for that.
Well, you never know who's going to come popping out at the last minute, especially if it's Uncle.
I don't think that's entirely necessary. You can refrain from simply running into death, can't you?
Have you met Uncle?
I have so far.
Perfect. Shall we move?
I like this guy.
I may not be able to.
There's a shocker.
Eldath has sent us on this quest. I am here on a quest of vengeance directly from Eldath. You saw the heroic drawings of the Fey folk. We have been led here by Eldath. This is a sacred quest. I will not let this thing escape my wrath.
Does Eldath understand that magic will incinerate or freeze you to the bone just as much as it will our enemies?
Griveth thinks about that for a minute.
Cantriel's just pointing to Drown like what he said.
Isn't part of the reason we're here because you planted an evil tree?
You didn't hear the whole story.
Drown just waves that off. that doesn't matter anymore. We're here to kill a vampire. Yes.
Yes.
We think.
Then let's simply move forward. And those of you who wish to close into close combat, keep in mind that those of us with magic and bows wish to soften the foes first. If you get in the way, you will die. Clear?
Well, that cuts it down nice and clear. She's gonna start walking.
Oh, so be it. Let's go.
As the Dawnbringers finally begin moving, I think Cantriel, you would be the first to notice, but it doesn't take long for all of you to realize that the light, whether rising morning light or falling evening light, any golden hue that was there has shifted to a cool gray tones as clouds seem to have almost materialized from nowhere, obscuring the sun. What was a gentle of emptiness is turning into a cold wind. And you, as you move closer to the tower, you can all smell rain on the horizon. And as you begin closing your distance, the first drops of rain begin to fall. The metallic sound of the raindrops striking Griveth and Thorgarn's armor in particular, and as well as Fig's metallic form. You all press on, and that is where we are going to take our break. So thank you to everybody who has tuned in so far. It's awesome to see everybody here, especially seeing a bunch of familiar faces that are continuing to join us after Jaspers, and people that are recent additions to the mini terrain domain. Thank you all so much just for being here. Thank you to those who have decided to cheer us and grant domain dice and such, subscriptions, all of that stuff. If you're new here and you haven't done so already, please hit that follow button and be sure to turn on notifications so you can know when we go live. We stream D&D several times a week. We are going to take about a 10-minute break, so please stick around. We will be back for another little over an hour of gameplay in this session. So we'll see you on the other side of the break. And we're back. And what the heck just happened? Okay. See, I was watching chat and this happened, so we'll see how far this goes. Chameleon Fam just dropped another 10 domain dice on you guys, but there's a specific agenda here for these domain dice. So I'm going to give you your 10 domain dice, all right? But then I'm going to give chat something, because apparently while we were hanging out, taking our break, chat has decided that this vampire that's just chilling out, posing for a his Facebook profile picture, chat has decided that his name should be Yesferatu.
Oh my god, yes.
And Chameleon Fam specifically donated those domain dice for Yesferatu. And so, chat, on this night, I bestow upon you this gift. It is now canon that this avatar vampire here is known by the name Yesferatu.
Will somebody please
You are welcome.
start photoshopping him into locations like Times Square and
Oh my
things?
god, please.
Like he's traveling
You can-
seeing the
Yes.
You
world.
can share those photos. If you take Yesferatu, grab a screen grab from our the stream will be back, or at the end of the stream because it's bigger. Or on, I think it's in my Twitter and on Facebook. But you can share those pictures. You can tag me on Twitter at MTD_Jake, or you can share them on the Facebook.com/mini-terrain domain, and I will make sure that I share them out so that the whole community can see those. We can have a new hashtag Yesferatu, and we'll make that a thing. Since chat demands it, I give you that. In the campaign, you are still in search of the vampire Gilthias. I'm just going to say that. But this guy right here, this is Yesferatu. We'll see if that has any impact on the campaign as a whole. As we return to the Dawnbringers, making their way across this canyon, approaching the spire that reaches up towards the now gray and darkening sky, rain falling, now falling much stronger. Wind has picked up. You can see now the full height that these cavern walls rise above this already massive spire, 100 feet wide at its base. The canyon walls are 500 feet away in either direction of this spire. The top of the canyon is 1,500 feet up. As you get closer, you can see in greater detail the hideous faces, gargoyles, porticos, and everything else that are carved into the stonework of this spire. But as it gets near the top, you can see the spikes and spires that stick out. And then you see a jagged, almost broken opening near the very top, that it almost looks as if the top of this tower itself may be open to the elements. But as you grow closer, the rain now falling in a rapid pace and the ground becoming muddy, a low, dry, mortared building is squatting against the west side of the spire. It's a single-story structure, and it is obviously very old, but it does not share the same quality of stonework with the tower itself. It looks as though it may have been added at some time. A single dark opening provides access to this building on the western side. You're now, and as you approach it, you're basically at the base of this 100-foot diameter tower, looking up, it almost disappears into the haze of the falling rain. It's so tall above you. What would you like to do?
Can I get anything about the stonework?
Sure.
Make a history check.
Yep, with your dwarven stone cunning.
So that's going to be a 14.
Looking at the stonework that makes up the tower itself, you can tell that this is ancient carved stone. The exterior walls have got to be at least 4 feet thick based on how wide this tower is and how tall it is. The design you recognize as something that would have incorporated an internal support structure of iron rods. The stone, the spire itself is ancient, but even still is of some of the most superb, almost supernatural quality, this work.
So I guess we're not just going to batter this tower down and call it done. It's been here a long time.
I'm sorry, you thought we'd actually be able to, like, break in and just do our thing?
It was a thought pattern. I'm just certainly,
Well, I mean, I have something that kind of could do it, but would take a few tries.
Isn't that a doorway right there? We don't have to break in. It's literally already open.
You're just going to knock and say hello?
There's nothing to knock on. I'm just going to walk in.
To a vampire's house.
Yeah, it's an open doorway, right, Jake?
Yep.
It's a doorway.
It is not a door. It is a doorway.
Thank goodness. Whew. Narrow escape.
But the word door is in there.
I think that Fig is going to cast detect magic in this area as we're approached close to this castle. He kind of you see him kind of fiddling with something, and what looks to be very, very fine thread that he just kind of pulled out from nowhere and is weaving on these small little almost copper orbs. He's tying these strings around them, and he sends up the orbs and they scatter, but he's still connected to these spiderweb strings. And you can see that sometimes some of them will twang as he kind of, if there is any kind of magic nearby.
So you're sending him into the interior or along the exterior?
Well, within 30 feet of me. So,
okay. So I imagine maybe kind of moving in and around the open doorway. You're close enough to it that you, these orbs are sort of pinging and trying to determine, you begin to see a glowing energy highlighting some areas along the interior surface. It seems to move in a almost zigzagging fashion all along the walls, the ceiling, and the floor of the interior. And you pick up elements of enchantment magic.
I think you would hear the particular, like, almost like sing-song ringing that is coming from these strings, and it almost glows with this light that has a certain color for it, and Fig seems to know what this color means, and he looks to the others. I am picking up signs of enchantment magic.
Well,
I
I
know
can't.
Go. Sorry, go ahead.
I can't say I'm too surprised to hear that, considering, vampires and cultists and things like that.
Can
Yes.
you tell particularly what the magic is on?
Jake, you said it was just kind of on the floor. Is that what you said?
It's everywhere. It appears in zigzag fashion all across the walls, the floor, the ceiling, most concentrated on the floors and the walls. There are a couple of concentrations of enchantment magic on the floor that don't have such a erratic pattern to them. They seem to be more concentrated.
Okay. Then Fig would point that out to Drown.
Are they
these-
in specific places on the floor? Like, are those perhaps magical triggers or pressure plates?
It's hard for you to tell without actually seeing the interior. You're basically seeing things illuminated without actually seeing the interior of the building.
Got it.
Yeah, so Fig would just, I cannot tell at this moment, but if we go in and we can see the floor, perhaps we can see the origin of these bright spots. And Fig's going to continue to hold on to these strings for 10 minutes.
So essentially, we just should go inside.
So this seems to be the only entrance, right?
That you can see, yes.
Okay.
All
So
right.
we walked around the tower and there's no other entrance?
You didn't walk around the tower. You've just
Okay.
arrived here.
Okay.
It's a 100-foot diameter tower.
All right.
I'm not saying you can't walk around it, just nobody did.
Right.
Talmud has
Um,
like made his way to the door and is like impatiently standing right outside, like leaning on his axe.
Oh, you're
Waiting.
listening.
Don't push it.
What? I'm just saying you're listening. It's good to see.
Talmud, so you're right outside the door?
Yeah. Triggering
You
whatever traps may be there.
you can
Per usual.
for those that haven't seen the first campaign, the very first trap ever was sprung by Talmud approaching a door. I'll just say that.
Effectively.
So Talmud, what, as you're standing there patiently waiting, you catch a very strong, sharp scent of death. Like the smell of bodies in decay.
There was a plural there. Buddies.
The
So it
smell is
sounds
too
like-
strong to be coming from a single form.
You know, it it smells like there may not be much work for us to do after all. Unless whatever I'm smelling isn't still dead.
We're dealing again, vampires, undead. At this point, expect anything.
Before we enter, maybe we should check around the rest of the tower, the circumference of the tower. See if there's any other entrances or windows or something.
Well, let's be about it then if you wish to search around the outside.
Does everybody want to come with me?
It would
think-
be foolish to
Okay,
split
we'll
off
walk
and-
around and then come back to the entrance if we don't see anything.
So we're all gonna go around the mulberry bush.
Maybe we
Yep.
should split into two groups. So
That's
that
what
we
I
can,
was
kinda-
gonna say. Like, what if we, divide and conquer, meet in the middle on either side?
We can do that.
Great, I'll go your opposite direction, Griveth.
So you two go that way. You two go that way. I'm going to stay right here and make sure that you both come back.
There's still one person left, though.
Talmud looks around. Oh, Thorgarn, sorry. You're so quiet over there. All right, fine. Let's just do it.
Jake, about how big around is the tower?
100.
It's 100-foot diameter, so
100 feet diameter. All right, so it's pretty damn big.
it's to go around it. I mean, it's not going to take terribly long. Doing some quick math, i.e., Googling. It's too late to be doing that kind of math, even though it's literally the formula is multiplied by pi. It's 314 feet to walk around this. So you guys are going to split up into two groups. Who's staying behind?
Given it's that big, Drown's going to say, let's all go in one group.
Okay.
Let's be about it.
Is everybody going, or is somebody staying
Way
behind?
too long. Drown says we should all go, but whatever.
Yeah, Griveth is joining.
Sounds like we're all in.
All right. Are you going tactically, or are you just taking a Grivethly stroll? That's a new term. That means
Grivethly stroll.
I mean, we should go around carefully, and Drown is going to be paying attention to. You said there were a lot of balconies and the like around the tower. Keeping an eye out above to see if there's anyone at the windows or balconies, anything flying around, that sort of thing, as we look for other entrances on the
Yeah, we're definitely looking around, as we,
Yeah,
Paying
could
attention.
Cantriel at this point use her natural explorer? Or not that, no, what's it called? Primeval awareness? Let's use the right term there.
all right. What's the primeval awareness do exactly again?
Hold on, I clicked on the button and my whole window went kapooey. So basically I'm using an action and it sense whether there are any aberrations, celestials, dragons, elementals, fae, fiends, or undead are present within 1 mile or up to 6 miles. I'm not in my favorite terrain, so up to 1 mile. I can sense if they're around.
What are the monster types again?
They are aberrations, celestials, dragons, elementals, fae, fiends, or undead.
The tower itself seems to virtually, I would imagine you get basically using this sort of magical ability, you get the equivalent of a arcane feedback. You're so close to this tower and it just pings so loudly, it's like getting hit with a strong sense of tinnitus. And it's just reverberating with undead.
Well, I can say with confidence there's definitely an undead that we're going to need to deal with, without question.
Like a
Dragons.
vampire?
Like a lot of undead. Like,
It
it's
stink.
hard to ignore undead.
You should smell it.
Don't need to. It's already assaulted my senses.
Oh, we won't ignore them.
Unless we're going to make a few more laps around this building.
So go ahead and you can make investigation checks, survival checks, or perception checks. Each of you decide how you're going to do that, what skill you're going to use as you're looking and observing as you move around the base of this tower. And I mean, it's 300 feet in diameter, and if you're being cautious, it's only going to take you about maybe 10 minutes. The rain is quite heavy at this point.
I rolled a perception check, and you won't believe I rolled a crit. So 28 total.
All right, and Fig rolled a 28 on investigation.
Can I do history? See if there's any weaknesses or any issues in the stone, or because my investigation and perception are trash. So.
Yeah, I'll let you make another stone cunning check.
Awesome.
How about that athletics there, Jake? I'm just kidding. I rolled perception and I got an 18.
Okay.
That is a stone cutting of a 23.
Wow. So, and Cantriel, so everybody's did pretty decent on that. Drown, did you do anything?
Yeah, a 21 on investigation.
Wow. All right. So you're all using your various skills and abilities as you walk around the circumference of this tower. And together you learn that, one, the most obvious thing is since you've approached it, the weather has grown quite nasty. Storm-like conditions. There's rumbles of thunder are just beginning from somewhere up above. The occasional arc of lightning. The tower itself, you scan along it. None of you see any signs of movement. As you're checking the various porticos and balconies and design elements that look like they could be entrances into the tower, Talmud or Thorgarn, looking closely at the workmanship, as far up as you can see, and your visibility is now reduced to being able to only look up about between 30 and 50 feet. The rain is growing so heavy that what looks to be from a distance look like balconies and entrances. They're design elements. The way that the stone is carved, it creates the illusion of depth in the surface. There is depth there, sometimes to as much as a foot or two, but what looked like it could be an actual full-on balcony carved out, as you move around, the illusion shifts and you realize it's just the way it was carved. None of you see any movement of anything. And eventually you find yourself back at this little stone lean-to building.
All right, in we go.
Looks like this is the way, friends.
All right.
Destiny has led us to this entrance.
No, the fact there's only one of these has led us right back to here. The architect led us here.
No, Destiny.
No, the architect. Unless they were named Destiny, it was the architect.
Destiny.
You all walk in and you catch that same strong smell of death that Talmud had mentioned. And as your eyes adjust to the darkness in here, for those of you with dark vision, anybody who does not have dark vision, because of how dark it is outside, you cannot see in here without a light source. Griveth draws out a highlighter, Dawnbringer. And the area is illuminated in a white radiant light. And now you can see that there appears to be some kind of ivy growing all along the floor, the walls, the ceiling. And you see many forms, some of them humanoid, lying on the floor all around. This whole space is about 30 feet by 30 feet. You see a couple of coyotes, some vultures, numerous small rats, mice, squirrels, and similar creatures. You can also see scroll. you can see that there is the body of what looks to be a not too old in terms of how long ago they died, an elf. Their clothing and some of their belongings appears to have not rotted, but all of these forms some of them seem to be almost half submerged in the earth. And then all of you notice there's a gentle music that is playing. There's a wordless tune, ethereal. You're not even sure if you're hearing it or not. And I need everybody to make a wisdom saving throw.
At 20 just rolled to a 2, so I'm going to burn a domain die and reroll.
All right. You got plenty of them.
I got a 17.
I'm going to use one as well.
All right.
15 for drown.
Right.
Are we close enough to Griveth to get his bonus?
Oh yeah, they should be.
I would
We're
say
all-
so.
we're
I
all
don't
together,
imagine
right?
you all walking in and immediately dispersing. So you're all
Right.
probably close enough. You've learned.
Yeah.
So everybody would get that bonus from Griveth.
Thanks for bringing that up, Dan.
Yep.
I got a
What is
27.
that? A
Plus
bonus?
It's a +3.
So dirty.
Yeah, if you're
So
within 10 feet of me, you
dirty
get
20
+3
for me
on
too.
any saving throw.
So
30, 20 then.
I need to know who got below a 20.
Oof.
I spent a domain die and I still only got a 10.
Who all spent domain die? Dan, you spent one, right?
Oh, yeah. I
And
spent
Ted and the Okay, I didn't get Talmud's. All right, so I believe that was Drown, Fig, and Talmud all failed. Cantriel, you actually cannot be affected by this.
Ooh.
I think Cantriel is the only person that cannot be affected by this
Oh,
because you
my.
cannot be magically put to sleep.
No.
But all of you watch as you hear this music. You notice that Fig and Drown and Talmud seem to have closed their eyes.
Sorry,
And
Fig also can't be put to sleep.
Oh,
Sorry
you
for
can't?
The interruption. No, it says magic can't put you to sleep.
oh, I missed that. I went and checked because I couldn't remember if the Warforged could. So you will not be affected by this either. Did you spend a domain die?
Mm-mm.
Okay. I was going to give it back if you did, if you're not able to be magically affected. But then you notice that Drown and Talmud seem to be swaying, and these vines seem to be curling up from the ground, wrapping around them. And the vines take Drown and Talmud, and they just sort of collapse lightly into them, vines grabbing hold of their arms and their legs as they are slowly lowered to the ground. And they fall into a sleep, and the vines begin to curl around them like a blanket. What will the rest of you do?
The comfy vegetables.
Oh, I start like hacking away at the vines.
Oh yeah, immediately try to slice these vines.
Yeah, I'd be going to try and free Talmud right away.
I'm going for drown.
So, as you begin hacking at the vines, you would all notice that for every vine you hack, 3 more seem to sprout up in its place. I would like all of you to make a nature check if you are trained in nature. If you are not trained in nature, except for the 2 of you, of course, that are asleep. If you are not trained in nature, but you are trained in perception or investigation, you can use that, but only if you are trained in those. or
if we're
proficient.
trained-
I'm slipping into older edition vernacular.
So if we're proficient in investigation, do we still roll a nature, or do we roll our
No,
the one we're
if you're,
proficient in?
which you have to be, whatever skill it is that you're proficient in, you can use one of those.
Okay. Yep. I got a 24.
28 with perception.
All right. And what were you rolling for, Fig? What skill?
Investigation.
All right.
Investigation.
18
Talmud?
for perception.
Perception for 18.
And I'm not proficient in any of those, so I got nothing to do.
All right. Cantriel, what was your number?
28.
And you had what, Fig?
24.
Okay. None of you, except for Cantriel, notice this. You're not sure what it is that's happening. And then, Cantriel, you begin to realize as they're all desperately hacking and pulling at this, and no matter what they do, the vines seem to sprout out. The music is still playing. And more vines are encircling your friends. You realize you have to dig these roots up. That's the only way. You have to dig into the ground. These are plants. You're going to have to spend vigorous time digging at the ground, basically trying to uproot them.
Stop cutting. We have to go for the roots of it, not the vines. It's only going to make matters worse. Find the base, pull it out by the roots.
I need all of you that are still awake and not magically unable to be affected to make a wisdom saving throw again. I guess all of you, all two of you that remain.
Big roll to crit. So
Well,
20.
you don't need to because you can't be affected.
So that's a 30-20 again.
All right. And Griveth?
I got a 23.
All right. You are able to hear what Cantriel is saying, and what are you telling them to do, Cantriel?
I'm basically, as I'm saying it, I'm also doing it. I am trying to find like a base of one of the vines and like lifting it up out of the ground, tearing it by the root system.
So I'm going to pull out my war pick, and I will use my channel divinity to use Peerless Athlete, and I will go, hog wild and just, using that spike to just dig into the ground, and I will give it everything I can to rip up those roots and pull them out.
You all, because of this knowledge and seeing Thorgarn, seem to just tap into this reservoir of strength and begin rage gardening, I guess would be the best way to describe it.
That is a legitimate thing. If you have not had raspberry bushes in your garden before, trust me, that exists.
So, Thorgarn, you sort of lead the charge in this rage gardening, and you are all able to let me just check. Oh yeah. Very quickly you are able to uproot where all of these magical vines are digging into the ground. The more you uproot them, you notice they begin to wither and fall away, and the music gets quieter and quieter until the last of them that are enshrouding your friends turn to dry brown husks, and the music stops. Jeremy, take a point of inspiration for your method acting. I noticed you. So did
Easiest
chat.
point of inspiration I've ever earned.
Right. I just looked down and I saw Jeremy all curled up asleep, cuddled up with his head on his hands. So did chat. So there you go. So Talmud and Drown are still asleep for the time being. But with all of these vines gone, you can also see now the rest of the dead bodies that of animals and a couple of humanoids, mostly skeletal, except for the one elf. That you can see all their bodies, and now you can see where the elf lies. You can see that he has a quiver of arrows that seem untouched by the ravages of time. A very nice looking earth tone and green accented cloak, a coin pouch, and that's it. Besides, of course, your sleeping friends.
I'm kind of like slapping Drown on the cheeks. Is he awaking? Is it like, does that wake him up like a normal person would awake, or is it more than that?
Let me just double check something. Yeah, I would say that vigorous slapping would awaken him. Drown, you awaken to
Wake up, big guy, wake up.
Griveth standing over you, slapping
Why do
you.
we end up slapping?
All right, so Drown starts awake at that at the sharp strike and reaches out and just kind of enfolds Griveth's wrist in his meaty hand and like half rises and then catches himself and blinks, lets him go, looks around and struggles up to his feet. What happened?
Do you remember anything?
I remember walking in here and hearing music. Did I pass out?
You did. But you're okay now. This must have been what happened to these poor wretches and these animals when they entered this dark place.
So he just kind of wordlessly nods his thanks to Griveth, and yeah.
So we have to slap him, huh?
Gets his
I
bearings.
walk over and
Oh, wait, no, hold on. Cantriel will grab Thorgarn's hand. I have a better idea. And she'll lean over and whisper in Talmud's ear, the beer's all gone, and so's the liquor.
Talmud sits bolt upright. Ah! Oh! What? What is? What's going on? Oh,
See? It works!
the most horrible nightmare.
Did you now?
Aye, there were vegetables everywhere.
Oh,
And
that was true.
there was no booze.
That's it's debatable.
We need to get out of this place.
Well,
We-
first
we-
we need to take care of things before we
we
get out.
just got here.
We just came in. Hopefully there won't be many more vegetables.
Agree.
Vegetables.
Feel free to put Veggie Pygmies on the list there, Jake.
Oh, you mites. All right. Well,
Veggie Pygmies with Whelm.
everyone's awake at least.
All right, Fig. I suppose we discovered the source of that magic. Do you sense anything else?
I think I think by this time maybe the 10 minutes have passed, I assume.
With your trip around the base of the tower, yes, it would have.
Okay, then he will recast it then. Lots of slots.
You no longer sense the spider webbing forms of enchantment magic that you did. However, the dead body of the elf, his quiver and his cloak are glowing.
So yeah, Fig would nod to Drown as like a confirmation of the magic appears to be gone. The zigzagging patterns. But, and he points down to the elf, the cloak and the quiver there are glowing. What type of magic, or just magic in general?
Enchantment.
Oh, and enchantment. Enchantment as well.
Well, the only one that uses arrows would be Cantriel, so should definitely go to her.
Just as a reminder to you Dawnbringers that from this, I mentioned at the beginning of this season that from this level forward, you no longer get give me's for identifying magical items. So standard identify or spending time with items is required.
Sure.
I just wanted to remind you because this is the first time we've encountered found magical items since that.
Oh, goody, more arrows.
They're very nice elven arrows.
They're clearly magical. Pig says so.
No, I'm happy about it.
And the cape.
I mean, do you want me to jump up and down and go wee or something? It's. This is a rather dark and gloomy place. I'm trying to kind of keep my composure.
So,
All right. So does this go farther into the tower, Jake?
You do not see any other doorways.
How many arrows were that, Jake? Were there?
There are 10 arrows in this quiver.
10 arrows in the quiver, questionable.
Yep, I would just mark them as however you want to mark them for now.
+5 arrows.
As long as it's not that.
So wait, is this the outbuilding or is it attached to the tower?
It is a lean-to made of an entirely different type of stone.
Got it.
And of a lower quality. It appears to have been added after the fact.
I see. And is it against the tower or separate completely?
It's leaning against the tower. It abuts the tower. Though from the inside you can see that the stonework that leans against the tower itself is also of this lower quality stonework. I mean, it doesn't take you don't have to be a dwarf to tell this was probably made from stone found at the base of the cliffs here in this defile.
Okay. So Drown will sort of point to the back wall that butts up against the tower. Perhaps there's an entrance hidden by this shack.
Seems feasible if there were no other, things on the outside that we didn't see. But I'm pretty confident that we were thorough.
Perhaps there's a secret door or secret entrance somewhere.
Well, he's gonna clap his hands together. I suppose I'll start looking then. He's gonna turn and kind of move over to the wall and start moving his hands about, poking at things.
All right,
You want a stick or something?
I have 10 of them on my hands.
Yes, but what if something you push, slices and dices, and then you only have 9?
Fine. All right.
I'm only looking out for your well-being.
I know. It's strange.
Unnerving, isn't it?
A little, yes. He's gonna actually just walk over and... You said some of these bodies were skeletal?
Yes.
Or are they... Okay, so he's just gonna walk over and basically just, pull a femur out.
As you do.
And he's gonna kind of use that to start prodding things.
That's not what I said.
It's the same thing.
Go ahead
No,
and
it's
make
not.
me a investigation check. Fig, as you're pulling the cloak that was glowing off of this elf's body, you do notice that there is also a belt pouch that sort of shifts as you pull the cloak off, and you can hear the jingle of coin inside. Would you take it?
Yes, Fig would
Okay.
definitely take it.
23 platinum pieces, 10 gold pieces, and a folded piece of parchment. when you open it and look at it, would you open it and look at it?
100%. Fig doesn't even care about the coins. Like, I almost think that he would take out the paper and almost like ready to drop the coins, which I'm sure Talmud will hear right away.
Talmud like reaches out and grabs it
Right?
before it hits the ground.
Oh my god, you say paper around Fig, and Fig's like, what?
This old piece of parchment has in a neat script that has a little bit of, like, it looks like it's a well-practiced hand, but it was written in a haste. And it says, "Flee, fool, lest the cuckoo take you."
So Fig would read that, and in no context, just, what is a cuckoo?
It's a bird.
May I see that?
Fig would hand it over.
So when it says the cuckoo, is there anything about the way it's written? Like specifically, I'm thinking, is the word cuckoo capitalized like it's a name?
The word cuckoo is capitalized.
Huh. Interesting. This doesn't just mean a bird, or at least not any bird. You know, kind of just tap to the capital C. Doesn't mean anything to me.
More like a nickname then.
Could be.
Toad.
Or a creature of some sort.
Large bird-like creature. Oh, this is going to be fun.
There were gargoyle statues and the like up on the tower, right?
Similar, yeah. Of a large variety of carvings of, gargoyles, faces, ledges, porticles, and other baleful textures.
Sure. Any of them that look like big birds?
From down low, where you are, not that you can tell.
All right. Fair enough. So no sign of a passage or anything. Perhaps we'll have to try and scale the tower to one of those balconies or windows.
Did we look along the wall to see if there was anything there?
Talmud, what did you end up having for an investigation check?
So you're gonna be super duper impressed with my 6. Nope, I'm sorry. That bonus is the other direction. That's a 4.
That's what we call a negative, not a bonus.
Yeah.
Talmud, you end up having to go through at least 3 various bones because you keep poking them, smacking at the stones, breaking them, sticking them in, trying to pry, breaking them. At the end, though, you are certain that there is nothing that moves, no secret doors or anything of that nature.
It's all a ruse. This was put here just to distract us, probably to lure us in here for these vegetables. That's what I'm thinking. I don't think we're going to find a way in here.
So while everything,
You go ahead, Griveth.
while everything is going on, Griveth really doesn't have great skill at finding secret doors or passages or anything like that. But he's examining the dead, but he's also taken out his a little vial of holy water, and kind of a blessing that he does for Eldath to, even if they're not people who worship Eldath, maybe this can help their souls find their rest that they need to go to. What he does is he pulls out this delicate little Eldath symbol, which is like a waterfall. It's a silvered waterfall on a delicate chain, and he takes his holy water and he does drops on the top of the holy symbol, and it runs down the waterfall and drips off like onto the onto the corpses, and that's kind of like a blessing that he does to try to send them on their way. But while he's doing this, does he notice anything particular about the bodies? Like, do they look like they were, drained and they're just like husks of body? I know some of them are skeletons, but do they look like they're drained and they're husks of bodies? Do they look like they were eaten? Is there anything particular that looks, any wounds that he could notice, or any kind of way that seems unnatural, or certain, whatever?
So I would say that with the clearing of the vines, you can tell that they were drained, but it seems as if, like, some of the bones, the way they're sort of constricted and broken, it looks like it was the vines in this area that was trapping, putting the creatures to sleep, and then feeding on them.
Oh, so I think the vines were probably feeding on the bodies. Oh, and then that's when it pops in my head, the connection, the Golthias tree, was a plant, and it had these weird, so I don't know if there's some connection there, but that's something I'm keeping in my mind, as we move forward.
All right. I'm going to say, I know that everybody scored pretty high when you were searching around the tower, but I know in particular that both Fig and Cantriel scored really high. Based on
I did roll a crit also.
Right. The lack of finding any secret passages and the nature of this lean-to and what you discovered walking around the tower, you're getting a strong suspicion that the only way that you're going to be able to enter this tower is to climb to the top.
Yeah, Griveth is strong, but he's not relishing the idea of climbing this.
So, with all of the description, I was imagining there were openings and balconies. Are there not? Am I making that up?
No, you saw that what looked to be openings and balconies, but Thorgarn was able to discern that they were skillful carvings that were, from certain angles, making it look as if there were more depth than there was. This tower is nothing that handholds and footholds all the way up with everything that's carved into it, but it is still a wet tower that goes 300 feet up. You may or may not discover entrances on your way up, but you suspect, from what you've seen so far, the only other option is up.
Could Verity fly around with a length of rope and see if there's like a place to sort of weave it around?
I want to say yes. Where? Hold on.
You can be a resourceful little fella.
How tall is the tower?
300 feet.
300.
I got 50 foot of rope.
I think I do too.
Well, there are 6 of you.
Mm-hmm. Hey, we're mathing.
Let's see. Verde is a fairy dragon and is an older. Verde is not going to be able to carry a rope.
Shoot.
Verde has a strength of -4.
Oh, okay. So, looks pretty. Kind of like me before the gauntlets.
Does anyone have the ability to fly or levitate?
Fig would nod. He has levitate, which is only that's 20 feet.
Around. So It'll get you to the top. It looks like we're going to be climbing for the most part then.
I could have gone up there with this new fancy cloak that I've gotten, but I've already used its abilities for today, and I don't think I'd be able to again until tomorrow.
When did you use it today?
When we were fighting the roper, I believe.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Fig says also, I can levitate, but I can also teleport much higher if needed.
I mean, I could do my thing. I just need to rest a little bit. But it's not that high is the problem.
Right. Well, Fig, when you teleport, can you take anyone with you?
I can take one person with me.
All right. So you could levitate one person, teleport yourself and one other. That's 3 of us sorted. The rest of us would have to climb, unless someone has some other trick.
Could I polymorph myself into a flying creature?
Yup.
Do you have the polymorph spell?
I do! I was just looking at my spells.
Yeah.
So, okay, then the way she's just gonna be like, oh! And she'll just like touch herself and turn into a raven. Like, not even explain herself, just like
a regular raven?
Yeah.
Damn it. All right.
What? Do you want to die a raven?
Well, there are. Oh. As this tiny regular raven flies away, Drown's like, well, you could have made yourself a giant raven.
That's so not how she would not even think that way. She's like, oh, I can do this.
So, Fig, choose who you'd like to levitate, and
now that Cantriel is fled, does anyone have how much rope do we have? Because if whoever teleports up takes all the rope with them, would make climbing that much easier for those who have to do so.
I have a single coil of rope.
Same.
You can borrow mine as well. But I'm fairly confident I might be able to climb this, especially if I had the rope to help.
Same. I don't know that we have enough rope between us to span the entire tower.
There's 6 of us. Do each of us have a coil of rope?
I don't.
5 of us. One of us is currently a raven.
True.
And Griveth doesn't have it, so we don't have 300 feet of rope.
All right.
You're just climbing.
You can cast a polymorph spell on other people, correct?
You can.
Okay, Fig also has a polymorph spell, so he could.
But it is concentration, so I don't know if levitate is or not.
I think levitate is.
Yes, it is. So yeah.
What teleport spell were you looking at, Fig?
Probably Dimension Door, I'd imagine.
Dimension Door.
Okay.
Yeah, which is 200 feet.
Oh, it's only 200?
I thought it was 5.
Yeah, Dimension Door.
Oh, yes, sorry, it is 500.
Yeah,
Okay.
Dimension Door is 500 feet.
Because
I got confused
300, right? Yeah.
It has the description that says you can say 200 feet straight downward.
Yeah, that's what sorry. 500 feet.
So Cantriel's covered.
Is there a way to sort of look around as I go higher up through the tower to see if there's anything? Like, even like a crack I could fly into to see if there's sort of like a way into the tower that would let them in as well?
Boom, 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 boom. You... Hold on one second. I gotta check something.
Holding.
Because you're a raven now. Ravens...
Nevermore.
You have an intelligence of 2 right now. So I would say you have at least retained the knowledge that you want to get to the top. I don't know if you have the wherewithal to do that level of investigation. You would have avian instincts that would show you there are plenty of places for you to perch. And maybe occasionally small crevices and nooks and crannies that could possibly make for nesting locations. But that would be the extent of your thought process moving upward. All right. So Cantriel Raven is flitting around, moving upward, pursued by, no doubt, by the green fairy dragon Verde.
So, Fig, do you have rope?
Fig. Yes, 50 feet.
All right. So we've got 200 feet of rope. So if you take Drown up with you, then you guys could take the rope. Whoever has to climb has to get 100 feet up before we have assistance with the rope. That's something, and not an asset that I think we should throw away.
Is everyone else remaining comfortable climbing the tower?
I can climb.
All right.
I'm fairly certain I can climb as well, but there's one thing I'd like to try.
What's that?
Something tells me he's going to kind of like approach the wall again of the tower, and as he does so, one of these kind of transparent dwarven spirits actually kind of steps out of the front of him and is going to attempt, I'm going to read this, to basically walk through this wall. I'm using Consult the Spirits. Once per short rest, I can cast either Augury or Clairvoyance. I'm using Clairvoyance. And the way that Clairvoyance reads is you can create an invisible sensor within range in a location familiar to you or in an obvious location that is unfamiliar to you. So I'm just going to say beyond the wall. I don't know what distance that might be, but when you cast the spell, you choose Seeing or Hearing. I'm going to use Seeing. You can use the chosen sense through the sensor as if you were in its space. And then as my action, I can switch between Seeing and Hearing.
And you're just trying to see through the wall where you are.
Yeah, so just basically placing the sensor on the other side of this wall to see what the inside looks like.
Give me a moment to consult and determine how to deal with this unforeseen circumstance.
That's one of my newer abilities. I haven't even used it yet, so yay.
Let's see.
That's why you read your character sheet, people.
Right. No, it's good to know when you have new abilities. I'm like, wait, the barbarian's casting now? What's going on?
Right? When it gave me the spells, I was like, I don't know. But what are you going to do?
There's a lot of magic sprinkled through barbarians. Even the totem totem warrior can cast ritual spells.
Okay.
Very much.
I just gotta figure out where you're looking.
Turns out D&D is a highly magical game.
Right.
Go figure. Yeah.
Okay. So, are you using Seeing or Hearing right now?
Searing.
Searing.
Both.
Now you're a paladin.
Seeing, please.
All right. As your vision moves through stone, you see it moving through several feet of thick stone. Passing even, you see the old iron bars that are reinforcing the stone until you pass into a room. And this room, where did it go? You see a room that has the curved wall of the exterior wall. And then to the north and to the east are straight walls. Urns of all sizes have been pushed to the edges of the room. Apparently, the contents of previously spilled urns have been swept into one large pile of ash, charred bones, and urn fragments. The chamber looks fairly presentable, like somebody deliberately cleaned up a bunch of broken urns. And what you see in the room I just gotta look something up. You see 3 zombies, a large 4-armed gorilla, and a skeleton that seems to have retained much of, like, within the hollow space of its rib cage, and between the ribs and its pelvis, there appears to be a lot of internal organs, some of which are even snaking along its limbs externally. And they are all sweeping the contents of these spilled urns into a central pile. That's what you see.
But this is like a one floor, like it has a ceiling to it. It's not open.
Correct.
Upwards at all. Okay.
The exact space is, so you actually see, let me double check. This is what happens when your player says, let me just clip through the wall and see what's in the next
IDKFA.
way far, right? So I'm just having to reference back and forth. Okay, so it is that. Yeah, this room. So you have the curved wall. There's a wall to the north, a wall to the east, and a wall to the south. There is a door on the south wall and a door on the east wall. It appears to be a small room of about 20 foot by 15 foot within the ground level of this tower.
Okay. So yeah, after just a moment of kind of looking, Talmud will reabsorb the spirit, dismiss it, whatever that happens to kind of look like. And his eyes go from kind of this supernatural blue kind of glow kind of back to normal, and he kind of shakes his head. There's definitely undead in there, as well as a very large ape of some kind with multiple arms. I don't know. It was a strange looking party, but I couldn't get any more information about maybe another way in. So I think climbing is probably what we're looking at.
All right then.
So
Who's going to levitate and who's going to teleport?
I'm a manly man. I can climb this.
So you can save the levitate spell, and Talmud, myself, and Griveth will climb. Is that what we're doing?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Like, he has the spell slots. He could also cast polymorph on one. So then only one has to climb. Because he could cast...
You can't levitate and polymorph is the trick.
No, but could he just turn someone into like a larger thing that they could carry someone else?
It also lasts for an hour, so there's a couple trips that can happen.
A giant eagle could probably carry one or two people.
So, yeah. So he could carry someone and teleport with someone else.
Yeah, not having a roll is always good.
So you're gonna turn. Who are you gonna turn into a giant eagle?
Talmud, I think.
Yep. I think whenever Fig goes to do that, Talmud's like, "Wait, no, what are you?" And then it's just too late. The next sound he makes is like, "Ah!" It's just like this huge bird. I imagine he's got like this like tuft of feathers under his neck that looks like this big, huge, gnarled beard.
I love that.
Like a big raven hackle.
Yeah, absolutely.
So giant eagles are large and like strength 16.
I would say that it's tricky because the ones that are left are the heavy Warforged, the heavy Goliath, and the two armor-clad individuals.
I think the Warforged and the Goliath are going to teleport. That seems
okay, so that leaves Griveth, and I would say because of the fact that they're both armored, you would have to take two trips or make a athletics check to fly both Griveth and Thorgarn up in one shot.
I think taking multiple trips is perfectly
Yeah, take
fine.
multiple trips. That's fine.
All right, who are you taking first?
Thorgarn. I've never been a bird before. If I screw up, it's probably better to drop my cousin.
All right. So Thorgarn mounts up on Talmud is a phrase I never thought I would say, but I've done it. And they begin flying. I just saw V's face. They begin flying up, probably surpassing the raven that is flying quickly up towards the top, and along with the fairy dragon. Now, as you are flying up there, I'm just checking something. So you got a fly speed of 80 feet, so you can get up there in no time at all. Fig, I need you to tell me exactly what you say when you are dimension dooring to the top of this tower.
So there was a ledge, correct, at this top that we could see, or
the very top of the tower is jagged, and for the last like 50 feet of the tower, there's all these massive spikes that are curling out and upward, and the very peak of it seems to have a jagged edge that looks as though it could possibly be open.
that is where Fig aims that
To the ledge, 300 feet
ledge.
up.
Yes.
I want you to... So you have to state your distance and direction as part of the spell.
Well, if it's something that I can see, right? If I can see it, I can just
Okay, there you
say,
go.
go there,
Or
right? For the
okay,
ledge,
or one
like-
you can describe.
yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he would, yeah.
I feel you have adequately described where you want to go.
Okay, thank you.
You take
Drown will hold out his hand and
Drown's
We
hand.
step through the, yeah.
Griveth, you are waiting below, peering up as the rain falls around you. As the eagle Talmud, bearing his cousin, is and the fairy dragon and the raven are flitting up behind. We see suddenly on the edge of this topmost part of this tower, Fig and Drown. You're standing on about a 3-foot wide ledge. You are looking down into an area that appears to be full of darkness. Some 40 feet across. The tower is that narrow up at the top. All along the edges, fang-like stone shards are pointing all straight up. Lightning and thunder illuminates the edges. And with your sudden appearance, you see something just below you detaches itself from the wall, literally just below you. Shadow breaks away. There's a sudden crack of lightning, and you see an otherworldly monstrosity illuminated in front of you. As this creature rises up, it appears to combine the elements of a cephalopod with the wings of a bat. 6 short tentacles and 2 long tentacles hang down from it, and it has a beak-like mouth where all the tentacles meet. This is a creature none of you have ever seen before. Talmud and Thorgarn, you see it. And, where is it? All right, I gotta look this up real quick. As the storm seems to surge around all of you, lightning arcs down from the clouds. And I need Drown and Fig to make dexterity saving throws.
Fig got a 14.
Burnt a domain die to get a 15.
A 14 and a 15. Let me just check the modifier on this. Was a 14 and a 15?
Correct.
That would be... where is it? Okay, the 15 is going to save. The 14 is a fail. So the one of you that succeeded will take 10 points of lightning damage. The other will take 20 from the Call Lightning. And next week, we will return with you rolling for initiative while Griveth stands alone on the ground at the base of the tower and you have just awoken whatever this monstrosity is. Cantriel is a raven. Talmud is a giant eagle with Thorgarn on his back.
Oops.
And
What could go wrong?
this is the second session in a row that has ended with a lightning attack. It was not by design.
And an initiative cliffhanger.
I just got all caps, no, and a damn you mini terrain domain in the chat.
I picture Talmud like freezing as the eagle partway in the air with Thorgarn like on his back. Them boys got themselves into a lot of trouble. Wonder if they're going to be able to get out.
So I'm trying to think of a good way. I'm going to next week's session. I'm going to have we'll actually be able to use a map. Actually, I have a battle map for the top of this tower for reference, and I will provide a picture of this creature so you can see clearly what it is you are fighting against. But anybody can actually see what it is if you just Google Heart of Nightfang Spire. It's the creature that's on the cover of the magazine. And
Such a thing is unheard of since the 3rd edition era.
I've never heard of this creature until I saw this or since. And inexplicably, I will tell you its name because it means nothing. It is a moon calf.
Sure is.
V, you look like you were utterly confused and like you were about to demand an explanation.
No?
No, moon calf.
Yeah.
And people in chat are like, what?
How
Yep, that's exactly
descriptive.
what it is. Chameleon Fam just donated another few domain dice for you all. Another 5 domain dice. Just yes, Ferratu. We love you too. It's so good to see you again. I'm going to give you guys these 5 domain. You're up to 146 domain dice. Thanks to the generosity of not only Chameleon Fam, who quite honestly give you a lot of these, but also others in chat. We do have a lot of new people here tonight. It's so wonderful to see you. I should have mentioned this earlier. I'm going to go ahead and type schedule in here. And nothing will happen apparently because I spelled it wrong. Let me try that again. Schedule. There you go. That is the complete mini terrain domain streaming schedule right now. Beards and Brushes amateur mini painting is coming soon. The first part of June. That'll be Big Bearded Nerd and I. But there's our complete streaming schedule for all you new folks. Let's see, our next game on the channel will be tomorrow night. Tamiko, who is hanging out here in chat with everybody, is a player in CF Check 4 Traps RPG, CFT RPG. I just wanted to keep naming letters. Runs a Curse of Strahd game starting at 10 p.m. Eastern. On Sundays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, you can find myself and Em along with some other friends here for our long-running Tomb of Annihilation campaign called Cult of Personality, episode 69, which will probably have an appropriately inappropriate title
Nice.
for the level that it is. But after 2.5 years, they are level 14. They are on the final stages of the Tomb of Nine Gods and close to either TPKing or finishing the module. Lots of great stuff coming up on the channel, so stay tuned. I forgot to mention it because I know a lot of people in chat are here and it only has recently reawoken. There is a link on here, or maybe somebody that's in the Discord can drop it in the chat. We have a Discord channel. Lots of great chat's been going on in there, and I do have channels for each of the shows. And coming up soon, I'm not ready to do it yet, but coming up in the next few weeks, I'm going to start once again going into the after show voice chat. Whenever we end a game, I will spend up to 30 minutes, because let's face it, it's already 11:45. I will spend 30 minutes approximately in the voice chat for anybody that wants to come by and just talk D&D, talk about the session, or talk about whatever. So we love you all. Without you, it's just us. We would still play the game, but you add so much to it, especially our Dawnbringers campaign, which has always been interactive with the chat. We love all of you. Tell your friends. Bring more people. I kind of want to go back and read all the chat. I missed so much about Yesferatu, which apparently I've committed to making a t-shirt for now. So I need to figure this out. But also I want to say, of course, a magnificent and tremendous thank you to Scotty, Dan, V, M, Ted, and Jeremy, without whom it would just be me talking to myself for 3 hours. Don't get me wrong. That would not stop me. I'm just saying that's what it would be. So with that, we are going to end this stream the same way we end every stream. And you can say it with me if you want.
I'm an eagle!